If you're about to homeschool for the first time, I'm willing to bet you're planning to be in the room for every single minute of it. Sitting next to your kid for every subject, checking every problem the second they write it, redirecting the moment their attention drifts. And I get the instinct completely. There's no teacher validating that this is working. So it feels like the only way to make sure that your child is doing it is to be right there controlling every single part. But here's the problem. That's a full-time management job and you already have one of those. Hi, I'm Johanna, a productivity and systems coach, and I'm a first-year homeschool mom running my business at the same time. I substituted for a bit and I watched compliance-based classrooms fail kids who just needed 5 more minutes to finish a thought. The kid was never the problem, it's the structure. So when I pulled my own kids out, I built a structure that bends without breaking. And the first thing I had to fix was my own instinct to control every single second of the day. I don't have the hours to hover over every worksheet. Between clients, deadlines, and the actual teaching, there isn't a version of my week where I'm the one checking every single problem in real time. So today I'm walking you through exactly how I built my homeschool routine that runs itself. Broken down by age, because the habit you need to break at 5 years old is not the same habit that you need to break at 11. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to let go of at your kid's exact age so that they're running the day and you're not. And before you tell me that your kid is different, that they genuinely need more support in this, I hear you. And I want to be very clear that this isn't about doing less for your kids. I want you to be intentional with where your attention actually goes. Some kids do need more scaffolding than others. And the system I'm walking you through today will flex with that. What it doesn't do is assume that more of your attention applied constantly all day long is automatically better for them. Sometimes it's just more for you to manage and less room for them to grow. Before we get into the system, I want to name what's actually happening when you hover over every single task because it doesn't feel like a problem from the inside. It feels like responsibility. It feels like good parenting. You're worried they'll fall behind. You're worried you'll miss something important. So you sit really close and you watch super close and then you correct everything in real time. But here's what that actually trains your kid to do. Wait for you. If you correct every mistake the moment it happens, your kid never gets a chance to notice the mistakes themselves. They learn that the work isn't done until mom checks it, not that the work is done when they've done it correctly. You've become the checkpoint for every task all day, every single day. That's not sustainable for you, and it doesn't build an independent learner. It builds a kid who's good at being managed and a parent who's exhausted by 11 o'clock in the morning. There's a real cost to this beyond exhaustion too, and it's one I talk about a lot with my coaching clients, the cognitive switching penalty. Every time you go from correcting a math problem to answering a client email and then back again, your brain pays a tax to make that switch. It's not instant. It takes measurable time and mental energy to reorient. So if you're hovering over every task all day, you're not just tired from teaching, you're tired from switching context 50 times before lunch. The business suffers, the teaching suffers, and you end up doing both jobs about 70% instead of doing either one really well. So here's what that looked like when my kids were in school, before I started homeschooling, and before I actually fixed it. I'd be sitting with my kid through a math worksheet, right? We'd be correcting each problem as we went, and then my phone would buzz with a client question. So I'd glance at it, I'd half answer it in my head, I'd go back to the worksheet, I'd lose my place, I'd ask my kid to show me where they were, and then finally type out like a real reply 10 minutes later that took half of the focus it should have. Neither the math lesson or the client email got my full attention. Both took longer than they needed to. That's what happens when you insert yourself into a task that doesn't need you there. The goal isn't to be less present. The goal is to be present without being the control center for every single decision. That distinction is the system that I'm about to walk you through. If this is hitting home, please hit like and subscribe. I post a new video every Sunday for parents building a homeschool that doesn't run entirely on their own bandwidth. This channel exists for exactly the problem we're solving today. Independence isn't a switch you flip. It's a skill that builds in stages, and the habit you need to break is different at every single stage. So we're going to go bracket by bracket. For early elementary, which is kindergarten through about 2nd grade, the habit to break is doing it for them the second they get stuck. At this age, they genuinely need you nearby, but nearby doesn't mean narrating. Give them a visual checklist, pictures or simple words for each task, in order, and when they get stuck, resist the urge to jump in immediately. Give it like 30 seconds. Let them try again before you step in. And here's what that actually looks like in my house. My youngest gets stuck on a phonics page almost every single day. She's learning. My old habit was to lean over immediately and sound it out for her. But now as a homeschooler, I set a very small timer for 30 seconds and I keep doing whatever I was doing, whether folding laundry, answering a message, whatever it was, instead of hovering. More often than not, she gets there on her own before the timer goes off. And when she doesn't, I help. But she's had the chance to try first every single time. I'm still in the room. I'm just not the first response to every single struggle. For upper elementary, which is like 3rd grade through 5th grade, the habit to break is checking every problem the moment it's written. This is the age where a written checklist replaces your voice. So they check off their own subjects. You set a timer for each block instead of watching the clock for them. And instead of correcting the math problem in real time, you do one review pass at the end of the block. That single change, batch checking instead of live checking, gives them back the ability to catch their own mistakes. And it gives you back the better part of an hour. I want to be specific about how this plays out because the first week you try it will feel a little off. You'll want to correct problem 3 the second you see it's wrong, but don't. Let your kid finish the whole page, then sit down together and go through it one time at the end. The first few times, they're going to get more wrong than usual, and that's expected. But by week 2, they start double checking their own work before they hand it to you because they know the correction is coming later, not instantly. That's the actual goal. Not fewer mistakes, but a kid who starts catching their mistakes on their own. For middle school and up, the habit to break is reminding them verbally throughout the day. If you're still saying, "Did you do your reading yet? Did you do your math page yet?" then the system isn't the checklist, it's you. Please don't take that the wrong way. But at this stage, they own the weekly list, not the daily one. You should be checking in just one time, at the end of every single day or at the end of every week, not in the moment. Your job shifts from manager to auditor. This is the hardest transition for most parents because it requires tolerating a kid who might genuinely fall behind for a day or two before the system clicks in. But you have to let them. A missed Tuesday that they have to catch up on themselves teaches the lesson faster than 100 reminders from you ever will, and it will lower your aggravation. Every age range gets less of your voice and more of a system that holds the structure for you. The version of you they need is not the one standing over their shoulder. It's the one who built the thing that means you don't have to. A quick note on what happens when this doesn't work right away, because it usually doesn't. And I don't want you to think that you did it wrong. So the first week, you hand over a checklist and you expect it to be messy. Expect your early elementary kid to still call you constantly out of habit, not necessity. Expect your upper elementary kid to rush through the checklist just to get it done, and expect your middle schooler to genuinely forget something important at least one time. None of that means the system failed. It means the old habit, the one where you're the trigger for every single next step, is still stronger than the new one. Habits like that take roughly 2 weeks to flip on both sides. Stay consistent through the messy part because that's exactly where most parents quit and go back to hovering, right before it would have started working. And if you've got kids spanning more than one of these brackets at once, like I do, the good news is these systems stack instead of competing against one another. My early elementary kids' picture checklist and my older kids' written weekly list live in completely different formats, but they run in the same room at the same time without needing me to translate between them. The only thing that changes as you add kids is how many folders you're filling on Sunday night, not how much of your day you're spending narrating instructions out loud. The mechanism that makes this actually run itself is the same one I use for my own Sunday planning. A folder or a checklist, prepared in advance, that answers every question before your kid can ask it. What's next? Where is it? What does done look like? If the folder answers those 3 questions, your kid doesn't need to ask you. And you don't need to be the one standing there to answer them. This is the part people skip, and it's the part that matters most. A schedule that lives in your head is not a schedule your kid can run without you. It has to live somewhere that they can see it and use it without needing you to translate it for them every single time. Once it's written down and sitting in a folder with their name on it, the system is doing the managing. You're just there to help when they actually need it. Not because the process requires you to narrate every step of it. Practically, here's how I built it. Sunday night or the night before each school day, if Sunday doesn't work for you, I lay out 1 folder per kid. Inside goes exactly what they need for tomorrow. The worksheets, the reading assignments, the specific page numbers. Nothing extra. On the front, I write the checklist in the order that they'll do it. For my younger one, that's pictures next to each item. For my older one, it's just a written list. That's the entire prep. It takes me about 10 minutes per kid, and it means that when we sit down at the table in the morning, nobody is asking me what's next because the folder already answered it. A few things that make this actually hold up past week 1. Keep the folder somewhere your kid can reach without asking. A shelf at their height or a spot on the table, not in a drawer at your office. Use the same folder every day instead of a new one, so finding it becomes automatic instead of another thing to remember. We have a folder holder on our door over here, and they can reach their folders individually. And resist the urge to overfill it. The folder's not the whole curriculum for the week. It's tomorrow and only tomorrow. The moment it starts holding 3 days of material at once, it stops being a quick nightly habit and turns into a Sunday-sized project again, which defeats the entire purpose. Hovering feels like diligence, but that's not it at all. Everything in your homeschool day has to pass through you before it can move forward. Build the checklist. Trust the age-appropriate gap. Let your kid be the one who runs the day, with you as the backup, not the operator. I think about substituting a lot when I talk about this. The kids who thrived weren't the ones who got watched the closest. They were the ones who'd been given just enough structure to know what came next, and just enough room to get there on their own terms. That's what we're building at home now, on a much smaller scale with much higher stakes, because these are our own kids instead of a room full of 30. Give the structure, release the control. Both things can be true at once. One more thing before you go. This isn't a one-time setup. You finish and you forget. You'll adjust the checklist as your kid grows, loosen it further as they prove they can handle more, and occasionally tighten it back up during a hard season. That flexibility is the entire point. A structure that bends without breaking is a structure that you build once. It's one you keep adjusting on purpose instead of accidentally drifting back into hovering because it was familiar. And if you're realizing the deeper issue isn't the checklist, it's that you're still trying to hold the whole system together through sheer willpower instead of a real workflow, I've got a video exactly on that. It's linked on the screen right now. Click it and I'll see you over there. And if this helped you at all, please subscribe before you go.